King Charles and the Queen Camilla have landed in Ottawa at the start of a two-day visit to Canada, seen as bringing a message of support for the country in the face of threat and taunts from the United States President Donald Trump. Prime Minister Mark Carney, who recently won a general election on a wave of the anti-Trump sentiment, met the royal couple on the airport runway in the Canada's capital. Also, in the warm afternoon sunshine, in front of a forest of the Canadian flag, the King and the Queen were greeted with a mix of ceremonial guard and community gathering. There were red-jacketed Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the crowds of school children to meet the King and the Queen, with an accompanying band playing the tea dance music. Also, representative of the Canada's First Nation communities were among the welcoming party, including the Algonquin group playing drums, and the Queen and the King, on their first visit to Canada since the start of their reign, will go to the community festival before the meeting of the Prime Minister Mark Carney in the formal. Also, the main purpose of the visit is that King's speech from the throne to the Canada's Parliament on the Tuesday, the first time a monarch will have delivered this for almost 50 years. It is expected to include a defense of Canada's sovereignty and to reject claims it should be taken over by the United States. The King is following in the footsteps of his mother, that is Queen Elizabeth II, who delivered the speech in back 1977 and opened the Canada's Parliament in 1957. The timing of this week's visit has been seen as a sign of solidarity with the Canada after calls from the Trump for the country to become the 51st United States state. Also, the US threat has been inflamed the public opinion, with some businesses in the Ottawa as elsewhere in Canada putting on display of the national identity such as Proudly Canadian. Also, the posters that Carney, when he visited the Trump at the White House earlier this month, stressed that Canada was not for sale, and the message is likely to be conveyed in the King's speech, which is written on the advice of the Canada's